Genesis chapter 45 verse 5. And now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. Do you remember the moving story of Joseph in the Old Testament? Here was a case when tremendous difficulty came right after a significant blessing from God. Young Joseph had dreams indicating that God would promote him to a future position of leadership and authority. You might think that his family rejoiced because God's special favor rested on one of their own. It was just the opposite. Joseph's brothers, who did not like him anyway, now hated him all the more. Even Jacob, his father, rebuked him and felt he was getting too big for his age. But God was getting ready to use Joseph's life to accomplish his plan for an entire nation. Instead of discerning any of this, his brothers nearly killed him and ended up selling him as a slave to Midianite merchants. As Joseph traveled south in that caravan, heading toward what seemed like no way, what must have been his thoughts concerning those prophetic dreams from God? How could they ever be fulfilled now that the bottom had fallen out of his life? As usual, Satan had attempted at the outset to foil the purposes of God. But the very hatred and jealousy Satan stirred up in order to destroy Joseph helped to fulfill the very dreams God had given the young man. In Egypt, after many more trials, Joseph ended up being promoted to second in command of the entire nation. All of this happened because the Lord was with Joseph. God did far more than Joseph could have ever imagined, despite Satan's attacks when he was young. And so it is for every person, ministry, and church that clings to the promises of God's blessing and protection. If God is for us, who can be against us? God's plan to use us for His glory cannot be destroyed by any weapon formed against us. Opposition, jealousy, and hatred should never cause us to become discouraged. Rather, these things ought to cause us to rejoice that God is up to something great. Don't quit believing today in what God has made real to your heart. No matter how unlikely or even hopeless the situation seems to be, God is able to fulfill His word concerning your life, your ministry, and your church. God bless you.